too bumpy. I'll call an Uber. Jared! Not so high! Not so high! You're so gay. Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the Not Gay Jared origin stories that'll be unfolding here for the entire episode. Listen, really quickly, for those who are not Mug Club members watching on YouTube, for some reason YouTube's decided to no longer notify you or even put these videos in your subscription box. If you're not already a member, louderwithtwitter.com/mugclub, or at least bookmark, favorite this YouTube channel, and go check it. That way you can... Keep one handy, so.
That's good to have.
Yeah.
Have a new sound guy by next week. Glad to be with you. It's the sound of the weekend. Producing with me in video studio, as always, is Jared, who is not gay. Follow him on Twitter at NotGayJared. Meet us, credit with your comments, your thoughts, your photoshops. I fulfill my legal obligations, jarring conclusions. Are we good?
We good.
I don't
It's
care that
Thursday.
much. We have a big-ass show, so we have to get to it.
Wow.
Necessary, contractually, at G. Morgan Jr., simplifiedwine.com. He's a
Right,
sommelier. What's the wine of the day?
Got a little red schooner here, voyage number 4.
Sounds to me like you want to be a red spooner with a guy.
Ooh.
So we have Gary Sinise.
Boom.
Dean Cain.
Yes.
I guess I thought you were trying to shorten
surprise
it,
him there?
abbreviate from boom.
No. I'm like, Dean deserves more than a boom.
It's kind of like brother became bro. That's bruh.
Bruh.
I don't know what it goes to next.
I don't know.
And then Gavin
Just
McInnes. Did I say Gavin McInnes yet?
You didn't say
No,
Gavin.
All right, Gavin
no,
McInnes. So
that's
Gavin McInnes,
Gavin.
Dean Cain,
I'll give him a
Gary
double
Sinise.
boom.
That's
Continue
loaded.
of the Not Gay Jared origin stories.
Yeah.
Question of the day, by the way. This is, we'll get to the trick-or-treating socialism, Donald Trump Jr., tweet, J.K. Rowling, Stephen Colbert. One thing, obviously people know that you tend to get more conservative as you grow older. And sometimes it's because you have more skin in the game. Mm-hmm. But I want to ask you, if you're watching, we have a lot of young people in the audience. As you've grown older, right after Halloween, do you find yourself caring more about merit and less about fairness? Is that a big part of it? I think that is for me. I think when you get out of college and everything is about fairness, everything's about equality of outcomes, and once you've earned something unique to you, something that nobody else can earn, all of a sudden you're going, wow. This isn't just a merit. This isn't just a trophy everybody gets. This merit thing really means something.
Yeah.
So
You didn't do this.
Yes, you
did
didn't
do
this.
all those things.
I either make rent or I don't now.
Right.
This is
well,
weird.
also, but using your own value, your own skill sets, what you bring to the table. So do you feel that as you get older, that's a natural progression? That has definitely been for me. When I was a kid, I wanted everything to be fair.
Yeah.
And I progressed a little earlier. Because I just, I was a grumpy old man at 12. But I care more about merit.
Steven.
Yeah.
What's fair changes a lot too, because what's fair when you're younger is not the same thing as because me getting what I earned, that is fair.
That's a good point.
That is fairness.
Yeah, a
It's just your
meritocracy
definition kinda changes.
is
It kind of-
fairness.
This is flip-flop when you get
But as a
older.
kid, you want to look at the surface fairness.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that more. In the news, 4 women from an Idaho credit union were forced to apologize after this photo of them in blackface surfaced. The fact that Gerald laughs right away, he's like them.
I haven't seen the video.
He'd be there at the credit union like, go for it, ladies.
Yeah.
No one can touch you. So it's posted to Facebook on Halloween by one of the workers at the Six. 4 women who work at the P1FCU credit union in Lewiston, who were apparently dressed as the 1988 Olympic Jamaican bobsled team, made famous by that film.
I guess I can see that.
So that was how they tried to defend it. People were attacking, and actually matters were made worse when the creator of the costumes clarified, we actually weren't the bobsled team, just subprime borrowers. It's the very first one of the show.
We're going to get letters.
If you're hoping for a smoother ride,
We are in it now.
No, the live audience is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
we wanted to aim that flare gun right at your face on the
Boom.
outside. Donna Brazile, of course, we have to talk about this. She's in the news. Yeah. This comes from Mediaite. She's been making the top trends everywhere where she's issued a scathing report on Hillary, Debbie Wasserman, the DNC at large. Essentially, she's just gone rogue. She's been attempting. Why are you laughing?
Yeah, her whole thing is like defending Bernie. It's like she's just feeling the burns like way so late. Like she doesn't realize like it's done. It's done, Donna.
What are the kids
Go
doing
home,
now?
Donna.
Feeling the burn? Okay.
But it's November. I have to make my point. Last November. Last.
Oh, damn.
Oh, damn.
But it does burn when I pee, though. So she's basically trying to burn the DNC to the ground. Of course, this is actually, as we know, her second stab this week at relevancy after quickly deleting her ill-fated and widely met with skepticism #MeToo tweet. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You know,
That didn't
you
go well.
don't want to victim blame, but in some instances. Friday, the Louisiana Supreme Court actually refused to hear a suspect's case. So they claimed that there was no violation of his rights occurring when he asked for, I quote, a lawyer dog, with the cops claiming he asked for a lawyer dog. In response, the suspect claiming that his demand for a lawyer should have resulted in the immediate suspension of interrogation, Scott Crichton penned a brief opinion concurring with the court's decision not to hear the case. He wrote, the defendant's ambiguous and equivocal reference to a lawyer dog does not constitute an invocation of counsel that warrants immediate termination of the interview. And this actually came to us from Salon, so of course there have been cries of racism right off the bat,
of course.
judicial malpractice, with one opposing Disney producer actually claiming there ain't nothing in the rule books that say golden retrievers can't practice law.
Black people do have it harder. I will give it to them.
do,
They
yes.
can't communicate
I
anything
will
right.
say, like, I don't buy into that Black Lives Matter, hands up, don't shoot. But when a guy's like, man, I want a lawyer dog, he asked for a lawyer dog.
Yeah.
Lord dog.
He clearly
That is
wants
the white privilege.
Is that like a
you're
hot
talking
dog?
about.
Rottweiler with a gavel.
Yeah. If that's the white privilege they're talking about, I get it.
I'll give you that.
I'll give you that
Just
one.
put a comma in there. Lawyer, comma, dog.
No, he was speaking.
I know. Just that's what I mean.
I don't even use
Pause
commas
for
though.
comma.
And it burns when I pee.
But need to comma
Turns
though.
out, Osama bin Laden was a huge gamer and anime fan.
Insane.
So today, the CIA publicly released nearly 500,000 files from his hard drive, and it revealed that he actually had a passion for things like Resident Evil, I think it was Mario, and loads of Japanese anime. So people are really happy
So
about that.
weird.
I think
It's not when you remember Saddam Hussein. They found him. He loved the Avengers and Raisin
Oh,
Bran
that's
Crunch.
true. I forgot about
yeah,
that.
that's right.
Yeah, he was crazy for Raisin Bran Crunch. They hate America.
Wait, Raisin Bran
The
Crunch?
Cereal,
That's not
very
even a
specific.
thing.
Yeah, it is. It's a totally
Cinnamon-
different cereal from Raisin Bran.
Really?
Yeah.
Where have you
heard that.
been with the Raisin Bran?
I thought you were just making it up.
Raisin Bran
You
is
are
old
paying
folks'
this
home.
person.
Raisin Bran Crunch is candy cereal. Yeah, totally different.
Okay.
But Osama bin Laden apparently was also an artist himself, as documents reveal. He was trying to get his comic series published. Taliban, Gotta Kill Them All. Yeah.
Oh,
That was.
I don't know why that one didn't take off.
That one didn't take off, and his venture into the young adult franchise even less so. Hardcore terrorist tentacle pornography just didn't. Japanese appreciate straightforward marketing.
There's no BSing around the titles there.
No. That's
There's
why
a market for
voted.
that, and they appreciate it, and they love them for it.
Imagine end up playing in multiplayer with Osama bin Laden and not knowing it. I got you. It's like,
He's in a clan.
oh, yeah, exactly. Taliban #1. I thought that was just a stupid name.
Gosh, that is. Yeah, I guess. Well, apparently he also pirated a lot of his games.
Yeah.
So
Wouldn't that
who'd
be
have thought
hilarious?
terrorists would also be involved with piracy? It's like, oh, Osama, it's not released yet. I'm not going to pay for the game. What do you think?
You see, also like Pixar movies. It just seems like the most childish thing for a terrorist to have.
Why would he like anime? Like, that's ridiculous.
No, it's because the Japanese are also a deeply disturbed, dark people.
There you go.
Well, there you go.
Kindred spirits.
Russian women stripped naked in front of the U.S. Embassy in Russia to show their support for Harvey Weinstein. I know. At first I thought, am I reading that right? So these are the feminist protests. What do they have to say? They said, we came here to support the producer who offered women sex. Sex is right. Sex is cool. We're here to say that when a man offers women sex, it is awesome. It means you think we are beautiful and sexy, said another girl. And this comes off, obviously, on the heels of that girl who was lifting up her skirt. A feminist to protest groping in a Russian train station.
Their feminists are different.
Their feminists are very different from feminists in the United States. And so to that, we say, we defect. All right, let's talk about Stephen Colbert.
I feel like I was on the hunt for Red October just then.
Yeah, well, you weren't.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
So don't rest easy. We still have a portion of the show to get through.
The hunt for
what?
Whoa.
All right, you gave yourself some work with the censor button.
There we go.
So Donald Trump Jr. tweeted something, J.K. Rowling retweeted it, and then Stephen Colbert decided to make it a part of his monologue because that's what entertainment is now on television.
There you go.
It is on here, but listen, soft expectations. Let's set it up. This is Stephen Colbert responding.
Last night, Don Jr. tweeted a picture of his young daughter holding her candy bucket and said, I'm going to take half of her candy tonight and give it to some kid who sat at home. It's never too early to teach her about socialism. Yes, it's never too early to teach kids the danger of sharing.
Yeah. Well, litany of things that are incorrect there. The dangers of sharing. It's the old adage, but there's nothing compassionate about sharing somebody else's stuff. So if that didn't set it up for you, where you can hear that the rest of Stephen Colbert's monologue will be misled, if not misleading, let's go into clip B.
On Halloween, kids literally go door to door to get free candy from the neighbors because the kids don't have it and the neighbors do. That's socialism.
No, it's not. No, it's not that. Why? The kids create or purchase costumes, and for an entire evening they walk door to door tirelessly, and they're rewarded for their activity with candy. That's called work.
Yeah, and the only way this actually works is if that fat kid sits at home, does nothing, no costume, and makes everybody come and bring candy to him. Yeah. That's the only way that's actually socialism.
Right.
This other stuff looks like a little bit of work.
Yeah, exactly. And that fat kid, by the way, was Bernie Sanders.
Candy? I can't do it.
All right, human rights.
No, then Bernie changed. He started counting points after his couch surfing days were done. Next clip.
Yeah.
No child in the history of childing has ever voluntarily missed Halloween. I'm worried that kid didn't go out. Why? Is he okay? Is that child caring for a sick parent? You know what would be a nice thing to do? Give him half your Halloween candy.
So this is the quintessential
How did we get there?
leftist argument right away. They care and you don't, right? They're compassionate and you're not. Which statistically, let's just get this, it couldn't be further from the truth. Okay, Republicans give more to charity, they volunteer more of their time, and they give more blood. Not only that, Republicans are better tippers, which we've written about. Of course, Bernie Sanders never tips above 18% on the dot. We wrote about
Was
that
it 18
too.
or was it 15? I thought it was 15.
I think it was 18%. It might have been 15.
I think you're giving him too much credit. I think it was 15%.
But it's very much like Ebenezer Scrooge with the prisons and poorhouses. I'm going to give the bare minimum and not a penny more.
Yeah, exactly.
He says no child has willingly ever stayed home on Halloween, which, and this is another thing, it completely echoes, again, the liberal idea of socialism. And this is an overarching theme that no one could possibly be in poverty. No one would ever forego trick-or-treating, right, if it were within their control. It's clearly not something they wanted to do. They're a victim of societal circumstance. Where do they get this from? Well, let's go to Obama. He said the same thing all the time.
What we've long understood, though, is that some communities have consistently had the odds stacked against them.
Yeah, not all of them.
No, not all of them.
That's not necessarily the thing that's always why people are poor. We also know some kids who didn't do that, right? We know kids who didn't want to wear a costume, or they forgot to make a costume or buy a costume until it was too late. And there were always the kids who were too cool.
I knew a lot of those.
For trick or treat, remember? Yeah, it'd be,
Oh, yeah.
they would show up to
All the
school like,
time.
oh, you nerd, dressed
Like,
up in
I'm
a
dressed
costume.
as a kid from goes to school.
Yeah, I'm dressed as a kid who's
You're just Braxton, and you're kind of a douche.
I trick-or-treated into college. Well, what's the matter with that?
I trick-or-treated until I was 22 years old, and that's not even a joke. Yeah.
22?
You just have to get a full body costume and mask, and they don't know.
Like to dress up.
You just say you have a pituitary disorder. No one cares.
I'm big for my age.
So there are plenty of now. If we get rid of the kid, who's going through chemo, who has leukemia, let's get rid of the extreme examples. It's far more likely that a kid isn't out trick-or-treating because he chose not to. Right. Either because he chose not to through inaction, through not being prepared, or he just decided he wasn't going to go trick-or-treating, he was going to rely on somebody else to do it. The same can be said for adults benefiting from socialism. Good example, Sweden, where only 0.3% of refugees work. Had to get that dig in there. We have, here in the U.S., a National Bureau of Economic Research study. It concluded that in the mid-'90s, the welfare reforms actually could explain about 50% of the decline in desire to work among non-participants, meaning people who are not in the workforce. So here's the thing. When you just give somebody stuff, I know it sounds like a logical reach. They just rely on you giving them stuff. Next clip, and it's disturbing.
We need to be talking about things like universal health care, which would be a lifesaver for working people. Socialist ideas outlined by the authors of Das Kapital, Karl Marx, and Frederick Skittles, or as you dum-dums like to call them, nerds.
Oh my God. No, we don't call them nerds. We call them communists.
Yes.
Communist, hardcore,
He literally uses
communist.
Karl Marx as a positive example.
You don't want to do that.
And I was kind of confused with the Frederick. I think he means Frederick Engels.
Engels.
Yeah.
The guy
who was the guy who helped obviously found Marxist theory.
I had to dig in to find out. I'm like, who is this Frederick guy? And then I realized, oh, this is like someone who's really in the know of communists knows Frederick.
Well, but it was bad because Skittles, like
Skittles,
Karl Marx, you kind of get, but Skittles didn't necessarily go to Engels. But what was that?
Great candy bar, by the way.
Mars
bar. Oh, fantastic.
That's okay.
Oh, come on.
We get ripped off in the U.S. We can't find them very easily.
Really?
Yeah, it's a true story.
Is that true?
They replaced them with Snickers almonds, which suck.
We have a slightly bigger Cadbury egg in Canada, so you do get the short end of the candy stick.
Cadbury egg.
But it's crazy to me. He uses Karl Marx, and the fact that then we found out, I think he means Frederick Engels. Like if we ever made a joke about Hitler that seemed to be praising him, we'd be pretty clear. You would realize if it's satire. This is not satire. And the fact that he says, you dum-dums, in other words, you have to be a dum-dum to not like the founders of communism? It's like, you dum-dums who don't like chocolate Himmler.
Chocolate Himmler.
Like, it'd be like if someone said Hitler.
Gummy.
And then starts praising the generals and
everybody else.
Yeah. It'd be like, Hitler, did he just say Hitler and Himmler? I think he just said and the SS. Like, no, I think he's definitely pro-Nazi.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure Stephen Colbert is pro-communism.
Why would you like these guys? They almost destroyed the world a couple of times over.
And they never worked.
Just move past it, please?
They also never worked.
No, ever.
Get beyond the horrible ideology that resulted in the hundreds of millions of people killed.
Yeah.
They were the douche who couch surfed, who never actually paid taxes or worked a job. So just on a personal level, like, Carl, could you just leave your stiff socks in your own drawer? All right? Would you starch them? We know what's happening because when I go to work, you have time by yourself.
Right.
I know you're writing your latest novella. I mean, like, they are total losers. This is crazy to me that people have skimmed past Karl Marx, Frederick Engels.
Yeah.
This is what the left does. They just want to claim the moral high ground and give people stuff. But they fight. They consistently fight any policies that would actually help the perpetually poor. So they'll fight for 15. Yeah. You signed up for Fight for 15, which isn't a real thing, by the way.
It's really hard to get involved, turns out. Yeah. Because they never actually tell you where they're going to be and what they're doing.
And you're like, where did they get these pictures? That's right down the block from me.
Right down the block, yeah.
It's like 12 people. And they claimed it was 35.
I get emails all the time, and you can tell they reach out for like the really black names to sign off on the letters. It's really obvious to me, like it's so not racist. Just like they go out of their way to make them sound really sad.
So the left, they'll fight for 15. They'll fight for a bigger welfare state, more money for schools, healthcare to fight poverty. Michelle Obama wants you to get moving, right? To be healthy.
Move it.
But they oppose drug testing for welfare. They oppose working for welfare. And hell, if you even live an active, healthy lifestyle, guess what? You're still going to have to pay the skyrocketing premiums for someone who lives on a diet of Snickers and funnel cakes.
Hashtag no fat shame.
It really, like, if you actually look at, you want to help people get out of poverty. They consistently fight the tools that would do so. If we really want to help solve poverty, okay, which is what the whole Colbert thing is, this whole premise is you don't care about the poor, it's only, okay. Avoiding poverty is pretty simple. Ben Shapiro's talked about this. We've talked about this for years. Finish high school, don't do drugs, get married, and stay married. Not only will you not be poor, But the statistical likelihood of your kids being poor is next to nil. The statistical likelihood of your kid finishing school, going to college, getting a job, getting married, whether he ends up in prison is, are mommy and daddy married and is daddy still in the house? Okay?
Yeah. How dare you make sense?
That requires a moral judgment.
Bastard.
People are perpetually poor because rather than tell the truth, the left gives a handout.
Yeah.
The truth is, if that kid didn't go out door to door, again, let's disregard the extreme examples, right? The kid who looks like Charlie Brown progeria, okay, fine. Yeah. We'll give him anything he wants. Okay? He's going to get a Make-A-Wish. We're going to fix that one.
King-size bars, get it.
But it's going to be charity. You're not going to steal it from me to give it to him.
Right. That's a good
voluntary.
Point. Yes. But most kids just didn't go door to door for that candy, okay?
Right.
The fact is he doesn't deserve it. And you're virtue signaling.
Not at all.
Compassion doesn't change it. Let's give you 2 scenarios, okay?
Yeah.
Scenario 1. All right, that kid who didn't get the candy, right? Stephen Colbert says, just give him the candy. Kid's bummed that he didn't get any candy. And he turns it around for next year. Scenario 1 says, I really, this was bummed. This was a bummer. I should go door to door. I missed a lot of fun and candy. Next year, gets a costume, hits the road. Big year. 2 trash bags full of candy. Scenario 2. That kid's bummed that he didn't get his candy, okay? So he stays home. Instead, a parent steals it from some other kid and gives it to him because compassion. And that parent promises him that he'll do the same thing next year and the next year and the year after that. What do you think happens to that kid? Worse, what do you think happens to the kid who actually went door to door and hit the pavement only to have half of his stuff taken? And he knows that you're going to take half that stuff next year and the next year and the next. Eventually, that kid is going to give up. And that's this issue with this fake victim culture. Well, how about the nice thing is just give the kid the candy? It's free. When I was a kid, I remember someone said, if you want to donate candy for kids who are less fortunate. Now, if someone said you want to donate candy to kids in other countries because they don't have Halloween, fine. I remember as a kid, I turned to my father. I said, there are kids in neighborhoods who are less fortunate. I turned to my dad and I said, it's free. Anyone can go out and get the candy.
All you have to do is walk.
You just have to walk. Even if you don't have a costume, put a bed sheet over your head. Not if you're in a really bad neighborhood of Detroit. Maybe that's a bad idea. Ill advised. I don't
ghost.
know.
Okay, you meant a ghost. Okay, got it. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, put a hula hoop on.
Yeah.
Find some of your dad's clothes. Dress up as an old man. It's really it's free.
Yeah.
There couldn't be a more perfect example. This is a great example. When a leftist says, well, you know what? The right thing is just to take it and just share that candy. What do you think when they're taking something that's earned for free, right? Mm-hmm. And they're willing to do it with something that's earned for free. What do you think they're willing to do with something that's actually earned that isn't free? Meaning payment for work, your goods or services, or your business. How far are they willing to go in that instance? Because when it's free and available to everyone, they still feel the need to redistribute. You think it'd be like, okay, listen, guys, all right, yeah, we'll take this stuff because these are elitist.
The easiest one.
But listen, come on, this is like, it's free, just go out, bang on a few doors. You don't need us to do that for you, do you? But they don't. They still say the right thing is to steal from this guy and give to you. And that's what the question of the day. Do you find that as you get older, you were gonna...
Oh, here's what strikes me about this video the most, is I get the metaphor of kids understand candy. They don't understand money. They don't understand wealth. I thought my parents had unlimited dollars and cents when I grew up.
Right.
Just go to the money machine. In fact, when they'd ring up stuff at the grocery store and you'd ring up one candy bar for $1.19 and they'd ring up another one and it said $1.19. I thought this was calculated total. I'm like, if it still says $1.19, let's just keep scanning candy bars all day. What the hell are we doing?
Right.
But
this was last week.
It's a metaphor about candy, and kids understand candy. But I also understand metaphors can break down at some point.
Right.
And so to me, when I look at this and think, okay, Colbert went after a tweet from Donald Trump Jr. about a metaphor that we all know can break down at some point. It just tells me he really had socialism on the brain and really wanted to get just an opportunity that he's been looking for. Hey, writers, any opportunity to plug socialism? Have you got any opportunity? Is there open door there? Yeah. Has it presented itself? Because I really want to get to socialism. He's passionate about socialism. This just happened to be his avenue in.
I'm really hoping there are Halloween specials where I finally get to fit in my love for Karl Marx and Frederick Engels.
And use candy to do it.
But I'll play coy.
I don't want to.
No, I really mean it. I really want to. All right, we got to get going. Gavin McInnes is coming up next. And Sinise and Dean Cain, I think.
It'll be good.
You should leave him his dignity. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Homo.
Homo? He said homo? He said homo?
Can't you understand English? He said homo.
No. Home.
Yeah, the closet. That's Jared's home.
No. Jared, homo, no.
Jared, homo.
Jared, homo.
No.
Jared's a homo.
He's just a homo.
No. No homo. No homo.
Orphanage ain't lit, but he ran away. Father was he gotta make a dead. Mill works. Gonna like Mill here. Drink too much, guess they deserved it, but he ran away. Things will get better.
Lay down.
Orphanage ain't lit.
All right, that was called. I was gonna dance, but Hopper decided he wanted to come
He
to Fred.
decided he had better
Things
to do.
You know what he did today? We took him to the vet to get a bath. He walked right in. I'm not joking. Picked his leash up in his mouth and walked himself right out the door.
Like a man.
Just walked out.
What a
He could have just walked out. He picked it up in his mouth and walked out to make a statement. All right, glad to have our next guest. We've had him on. It hasn't been actually that long. He'll probably be on more frequently now that he is also available to Mug Club members in the CRTV. Get off my lawn, Gavin _McInnes on the Twitters. How are you, Gavin?
I'm good. How are you, Steve?
I'm doing. I don't know. What now? Is this
Steve Crowder?
Is this your uniform now with this? Is this like what you wear for the show always?
Yeah, I have about 7 of these ties and about 10 of these shirts, and it's my new look. It's my new thing. Dad.
Was that the decision? Is this in your mind? This is how most dads dress?
All my decisions happen in my mind. That's one of my prerequisites.
Yes, but I mean,
personal decisions. They have to involve my mind at some point down the chain.
do you picture dads like this?
Yeah, that's my ideal dad. NASA.
Okay.
Also Michael Douglas in Falling Down, but you know, these are the kind of dads who I remember my dad. I'm actually going to have him on my podcast tomorrow. Would just like remember in the 70s, dads would do things like we set up a wall with bricks and stuff in the back garden.
Yeah.
Wearing this, like they'd have their slacks on, maybe an undershirt, but still they'd get cement on their dress shoes because that's the only shoes they had.
But you know, actually, I've talked about this a lot. My grandfather, French Canadian grandfather, he used to get suits from the guy who owned the properties. He was a super guy. Was Mr. Mongeau. Was like a millionaire, which is unheard of in Montreal. So he would give hand-me-down suits to my grandfather. He'd be walking up 3 stories with 2 cans of tar, 3-piece suit, Brill cream, Clark Gable mustache, and he'd also be he'd be elbow deep in in a toilet because he was doing plumbing but he would still have the 3-piece suit. He'd keep the vest on, and you know, we try to find comfortable clothes for traveling. So
now dads can't wait to get into their pee-pee jams. The second they get home, the suit comes off like it's Superman in reverse. And no, Superman in normal. And then they've got their basketball shorts on, their bare feet, like they're going to their kid's game in flip-flops and some undershirt with their armpit hairs everywhere. Everyone looks like they're in a pajama party these days.
It's true. They look pretty gross. By the way, do you know who directed Falling Down with Michael Douglas? A lot of people won't guess this. Do you know?
I believe it was Drew Barrymore's mom.
What?
No, I just made that up.
I have no idea. I was like, wait, is there something? No. Surprising, because he's never made another good film. Joel Schumacher directed that.
No.
Yeah,
really?
Rubber Nipple Batman.
No.
Joel Schumacher, he directed Falling Down.
You lost yourself, Joel.
Yeah, number 23, Lost Boys, super gay undertone to every film, but he did Falling Down, and it's great. I don't know how, it doesn't compute. Okay.
Wait, you want to know some more juicy gossip?
Yes, I do.
You know who wrote Falling Down?
Drew Barrymore's mom?
The strange bald pervert in Portlandia who has an obese wife, and they get up to all kinds of polyamorous lovemaking. He's portrayed as a hippie pervert in Portlandia. Bald guy.
Can we get a name?
I guess I can get you.
That's okay. All right, speaking of dads, listen, you're a New York guy. It almost seems like years ago at this point, the New York terrorist attack that occurred.
Seems forever ago.
What was that like for you? Were you in New York when 9/11 occurred?
E.B. Rose Smith, E-B-B-E is his first name. Yes, I was here for 9/11. I was in the Lower East Side, watched it happen live, watched it collapse, became an Islamophobe that minute.
Right.
Still passionately phobic to this day. But I was also in New York when the other terror attack happened just 2 days ago now.
Right.
8 people were killed. Isn't it eerie,
but you
by the
weren't
way,
a dad in 9/11, so did it change your perspective when this happened, now that you're a dad and you're seeing it unfold?
Totally.
Okay.
Totally. Because I think a lot of the childless, no offense, Jared and Stevie, but they have less skin in the game, and they tend to sort of go, well, this is a bad week or this is a bad month. But if Islam gets to, say, over 10% of your population, you become a Sweden, and you become a Luton, England, and you become a country that has a predilection, or an area that has a predilection to terror, which is dangerous and horrible and scary, and it is even worse for the next generation. Muhammad's the #1 baby name in England right now because they weren't paying attention to it.
Right.
And I don't want that for my kids or my grandkids.
What was it like having to explain this to your children? Because obviously there's a lot of misinformation when it came out. How did you just come out right and say, listen, Muslim guy kill people because he doesn't like people who aren't Muslim. There are people out there who just hate you because you don't share their religion and it's evil. How do you I don't, like I said, I don't have kids. How do you explain it to them? Do you have
I know. Why don't you have kids? The second you have that kid, that dog you have is going to become a stuffed animal. I look at my dog and I just think, die. Go ahead and die. Or don't die. I don't care. Just don't defecate on my rug.
Right.
I feel nothing for him.
That's probably because you haven't trained the dog to not defecate on your rug. I'm not saying it's to children value,
Also,
but it develops
Hopper's more like a piece of furniture at this point.
at this point, really. I mean, he's
come on.
positively inert, so he's easier to handle. But now, how old are your little ones?
10, 9, and 4.
Okay, so let's say,
here's the deal with you when you have kids. You say, how do you explain 9/11? You avoid 9/11 for as much as possible. It's like sex. It's like Santa. It's like race. You don't want to discuss that. You want the kids to be kids for as long as possible. So the only time I bring up any of this stuff is when they get told the opposite by some blabbermouth at church or something, like when they were told on Martin Luther King's birthday that he was killed by a gun, and if only we could pile up all the guns in the country and have a big bonfire. Then I had to say to the kids,
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Actually, Marty loved guns. They were not. Yeah, that is a lot of guns, isn't it?
I also don't think they understand the general concept of flammability.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a
that
very easy
seems
fire to
like-
start. No.
There'll be a few wooden buttstocks, but for the most part, you're just going to have a lot of hot guns.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of hot guns and some melting lacquer.
I had a friend
until
who
those
beat
stuff.
a bullet to smithereens as a kid, and it blew up on him.
Yeah, with a hammer.
With a hammer.
Everyone knows a kid who
Everyone
has that
does,
kind of story. So you haven't talked about this with any of your kids yet, because basically the media is a blabbermouth. They lie about all of it. So if the kids
I know,
have
but
Twitter,
kids shouldn't be reading the New York Post. I mean, they said
have an
that during the
iPad.
election. They go, how am I supposed to tell my kids what the president says when he says grab your pussy or whatever? And I go, don't let your kids hear what the president says. Don't let them read the paper. I hit the newspaper when we had the terror attack 2 days ago and today. I don't want them seeing that. That's folded face down on the kitchen table. No.
I'm pretty well. Either A, they can physically reach at the kitchen table, or they have an iPad that doesn't worry you at all. But they just open up Apple News. Oh gosh, it's
Kids
Jake
are
Tapper.
not. Kids don't have a news show on CRTV. They're not interested in news of the day. They're interested in FGTV. My son's interested in the Mets. My daughter's interested in making videos on Musical.ly and chatting with her friends. I mean, we keep politicizing the apolitical, and that includes children. And it's a plague because only the very well-informed should be dabbling in this area. It's dangerous for the naive to get involved, and the naive is heavily involved, boy.
It's true. Although in Montreal, we were just talking about this. I took Jared for the first time there. Remember they used to have the porno tabloids next to the Skittles in Montreal. He'd be it would be like a dead body, porn, and like ring pop. This is how they would lay it out.
Allo Police, it was
Yes,
called.
Allo Police. That's what it was.
And they'd have a stripper with her throat slit, just like that on the cover.
Right.
It was like Mexican tabloids. And you would just you would walk by it as a kid and go, oh, I didn't know that an open throat looked like that. You can really see the esophagus.
Right.
I'm now 31 years old, even though I'm 10.
It did strike me as a hyper-sexualized city. Like, you'd have like your KB Toys right next to a massage parlor. And it's like, jeez.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
It is really.
Well, it was populated by sluts. I mean, the soldiers went down there to kill all the Indians who killed the Jesuits, and then they said, all right, we won this time. The Indians didn't beat us up, but now we need chicks. So Louis XIV sent a filles de roi, which were all the prostitutes, and you end up with a pretty slutty city. But it's so slutty and sex positive that you go to a strip club and there's no seediness. It's just like, bonjour, I'm a woman who's very libidinous and I like to show my genitalia to strangers. And then the strangers are like, and I like to look at genitalia, so we have a fair exchange. And you're like, what is this, a hippie cult?
Yeah.
You're supposed to feel dirty in here. This is not fun anymore.
It's a hippie cult where the prerequisite is sounding like Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast, apparently.
It sounds like, yeah.
But otherwise, you're out. Okay, so this happened. Is it just me, or did the media move on in record time Once we found out the guy was a... Yeah.
Look at Charlottesville or look at Vegas and how it dominated the 100% of the show for at least a week. I was supposed to be on Tucker, actually, when Vegas happened, and it delayed us like 8 days, and then they said, oh, we've moved on to other things. Sorry, that could have just been an excuse. But the point is that both of those things were seen as weak swallowers.
Right.
This, we feel like we're doing ancient history now, and it was 2 days ago.
Yeah, because Dustin Hoffman grabbed an ass.
That was a surprise. I was stunned to discover that Brett Ratner was a jerk. Yes. Who knew? Who knew that Kevin Spacey, a millionaire homosexual in the arts, groped buns?
Yes, I know. That was one, I will say, in tandem, together. Mm-hmm. We don't know. Could be a lone wolf. When they did know, the guy yelled out Allahu Akbar, as you said, Jared. Nothing good happens after that. We don't know. Combined with, hey, breaking news, Kevin Spacey's gay, as though they didn't know this all along. It completely destroyed any shred of integrity I felt that the media had left. I mean, you've been in the entertainment. Everyone knew he was gay.
I'm going to get on a plane. I'm going to open the window, the emergency window. I'm going to get on top of the plane with a bullhorn, and I'm going to announce to all of North America, the difference between these white lunatics who kill people and Muslims is the Muslims are following a book.
Yeah.
It says it in the book. There's a pattern with one and no pattern with the other. Understand? And
yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, geez, you might want to nail that down in the second. Feels like the Blazing Saddles town.
It's like that Kim Jong-un village where it's just a facade.
Exactly. Hey, you get some bread, right? Oh, yeah. Get it back up. We need a 3-prong. Yeah, it is remarkable. I understand it, right? You're trying to look for a correlation. Okay, mass shooting, is there something? Instead, they ultimately come back to an inanimate object. I don't know how else to explain it. We talked about this yesterday. Book says, kill gays, women are second-class citizens, kill non-Muslims or treat them as second-class citizens. Every Muslim country in the history of ever, that's what they do. Case in point, why is this still an issue? There's no other way to explain it. It gets so repetitive, you wonder if that's why they move on. But they don't move on. They move on because they want to say hashtag not all Muslims, and I want to blow my brains out.
Well, they hate white people, right? So they go, okay, to criticize Islam feels like I'm making fun of brown people. I don't like that. I want to focus on the Charlottesville, the Vegas ones. You go, okay, I get that. But the guy who did this was white. He was part of when Russia sort of got encroached by Islam, and now you have these all Uzbekistans that have white dudes with big funny beards. You can hate him. He's all there for the hating. But you still don't care?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't like it. They always say, I've talked to liberals about this, and they always go, that's not my area of expertise. And that happens in the other part of the world. And I go, no, it actually happened on the West Side Highway bike path in Lower Manhattan. Right next to you.
Right.
So what is your issue? And then you had liberal journalists saying, I know I live in New York, but the odds of that happening to me are a fraction of 1/10%. And you go, okay, good. Okay, so we'll wait until the odds are 1 in 3 that you're going to have your head blown off before we care about Islam in the West.
I live in Alphabet City. I don't go that high. I don't go that far north. I'm safe.
It sounds like you do have to wait for Islam to conquer the entire United States and become the man before liberals have a problem with them.
That's the thing. When people say, well, look at the plenty of peaceful Muslims in the United States. It's like saying, hey, listen, I really have a problem with Denmark socialized health. Well, what about the people from Denmark in the United States? I don't care about them. Let's talk about the ones in Denmark. Let's talk about where they have power in every Muslim country ever. If they want to talk about cis white patriarchy, let's take the most moderate Muslim country in existence. They still flog you in Indonesia for dressing immodestly. And you're blocking for these. All right, Gavin, where's the best place for people to find you and watch this show? We're going to have a promo here later today as well.
Okay, there's a website that called crtv.com. You go on there and you'll see my face. I'm the one that has a beard. Just click on that, and then I will come out of your machines.
Shade thrown. That's at Gavin_McInnes. Be another couple months before we have him back. We have Gary Sinise.
Gary Sinise.
He's a nice man.
It'll get better.
And now for Barely Legal with Bill Richmond, sponsored by Mug Club.
Hi, I'm Bill Richmond, the half-Asian lawyer for Louder with Crowder, here to help dispel myths and clear up confusion regarding commonly misunderstood legal terms. Today we have a question about why is it that sometimes a person will be cleared of all criminal charges and yet still face a civil lawsuit? Aside from the technical differences of differing standards of proof and different remedies, perhaps the most common thing is that despite the fact that Johnny's never coming back, that family still wants those dollar bills. For Louder with Crowder, cheers.
This has been Barely Legal with Bill Richmond, sponsored by Mug Club.
Hey guys, go to crtv.com right now and check out Get Off My Lawn. It's a libertarian family values show where we talk about free speech on campus, the alt-left, drugs, guns, sex, and why conservatism is the new punk rock. Politics is two types of people. People want to be left alone, people who won't leave us the hell alone. If you're part of the first group, welcome aboard. If you're part of the second group, then get off my lawn.
That explains the trouble that I'm always in. That explains the trouble that I'm
All right, next guest, love to have him, but we always have some trouble figuring out questions because he's possibly the nicest guy
That's a problem.
I've met. And so usually
nice.
in this show we're dealing with news, there's controversy, and we're like, hey, can we ask him about? Oh no, he's just gonna he's too nice to ask that question. It's like asking a really nice uncle where you're like, I don't know that he knows about that story because. He's just
I don't have those uncles.
He's
They're
too
all-
nice.
they're all-
they're all the guys who are
they're in jail.
behind the shed. Yeah. All right, you can follow him on Facebook.com/Gary Sinise. So in case you hadn't guessed who it is yet, Mr. Sinise, how are you, sir?
How are you, Stephen? Yes. Very nice. Thank you for the introduction. Very nice.
Now, were you always this kind of a man, or did society pummel you into submission? That's my question. Is someone like you born, or were you made later on?
What do you mean by this kind of man?
So you're like, well, this is exactly it. Like, what do you mean? So nice. I don't think I've ever seen you raise your voice. You've always been so welcoming to people who I've seen you interact with fans. That's not typical of everyone I've met in Hollywood. So is that just your nature?
Well, I've got a lot to be thankful for. Things have gone pretty well. Got a great 3 kids. Been married to same woman since 1981. Things have gone well. The career has gone well. I've been blessed. Still have both my parents. Haven't had any major tragedies personally in my life that have, really taken our family into difficult situations, like so many families that I actually work with through my foundation and through the support work that I'm with. I'm seeing people constantly that are, going through some very, very difficult challenges. So I just feel kind of blessed and thankful for the good fortune I've had.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I asked him a question. He lists like 20 things that he's grateful for and compliments to everyone. And none of it was like the kind of Trump or Hollywood, like, and I'm the best at. None of that. Okay, that's actually an interesting question. How? With only you and Alice Cooper have been married that long of anyone I know in the entertainment industry. It is incredibly rare. What's the secret to that? Because I got to imagine even you get mad every now and then, right? You're married, it happens.
My wife is very, very funny. She's kind of an eccentric person. So even after 40 years, I'm baffled at some of the things that she says and comes up with, and they're very, very entertaining and very amusing. So I think your sense of humor is something that can carry the day. Look, we, like any couple who's been together a long time, you've had your challenges, and we've certainly had ours. But I'm blessed that we're still together. We've had some issues. She's suffered with some terrible spine issues. She's had 6 back surgeries and has survived those. We've been through our challenges ourselves, but you know what? We've come out on top. We have a faith and belief, and it's helped carry us through a lot of good things and a lot of tough things as well.
Well, there you go. Hopefully some people listen. I don't think there are many people in the industry who will not, but him, and it's very similar to actually Alice Cooper's answer. He said, my wife has a great sense of humor, and, you have to be able to work through these issues. He did go through rehab, though, serious issues, and just said, my wife is the ultimate. So Alice Cooper, of all people, is the nicest guy. No one has a bad word to say about him. How about this, Gary? Because this week, obviously, listen, your industry has taken kind of a pummeling, right? There's been it's been in the entertainment industry. It's been on the radar of a lot of folks.
Just saying your industry could use a little
cleaning up. Everyone needs to improve. In hockey,
I have nothing to do with any of that.
Yes, I doubt anyone's going, Gary. In hockey, we have some friends. A good friend of our family's for a while was Stu Grimson. He was an enforcer. They called him the Grim Reaper. Nicest guy, a lawyer. A lot of the time, the really most aggressive players would surprise you and be the nicest guys. Who are some people in the industry who you would say most people would be surprised? Just a great all-around, family person. You're never going to hear a scandal about them.
Oh, I have a lot of good friends. I mean, one of my oldest, dearest friends is Jeff Perry, who's on that show. Ironically, he's on a show called Scandal. But,
yeah, that's right.
Jeff and I went to high school together. We started Steppenwolf Theater together with our buddy Terry Kinney. Jeff, he's the father of Zoe Perry, who is now on that new show, Young Sheldon. She plays his mother.
Right.
And her mother is Laurie Metcalf. They've been through their challenges and things like that. But Jeff is just one of the most wonderful guys. He's been like my brother for over 40 years, going back to the early 70s.
So
wonderful guy. His head's on right. Joe Mantegna is another great buddy of mine who really is just, wonderful guy, very charitable, giving person, very, these are two guys that grew up in Chicago. I mean, we all grew up in Chicago together. So, we have a history there.
How'd you avoid the accent, though? How'd you avoid the Chicago sound? Like, did you have to work on it when you moved out there?
I didn't grow up in the city. Joe has a little bit more of that because he grew up in Cicero.
Right.
But Jeff and I grew up in about 25 miles north of the city in a town called Highland Park.
Sure.
Which is, upper middle class. There's a big Jewish community there. I didn't know anybody who talked like that. Because everybody was
you didn't grow up next to Dennis Farina. Yeah, got it. Hey, here's something because I know you've worked.
Dennis was a good pal of mine. I got to know back in the 80s.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about him. Something that surprised me, obviously these allegations came out about Dustin Hoffman, but when I was reading the journals, this lady was talking about, not just Dustin, but all these things that went on, but she said, I am in love with John Malkovich. She said, I love the way he orders lunch. It would surprise people because John Malkovich is an actor who is kind of known for that subdued rage, right? And when you see this coming, it's a perfect example of, I mean, I know you've worked with him. Would you corroborate? Super nice guy. This lady was in love with him. She said he was just a consummate gentleman.
Yeah, John, he's very eccentric and funny, and I think he plays a character a little bit because it's entertaining and people are used to that, and they expect him to say bizarre and entertaining things and stuff. But John's a very, very nice guy. We've known each other back since the 70s. He's a member of Steppenwolf Theater going back to the mid-70s.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember finding it so telling where this lady was writing, and she went out of her way to say, I love the way I could listen to John Malkovich order lunch all day. And I'm going like...
Well, I felt awkward for a second because you could have been teeing Mr. Sinise up for no, maybe he knows something we don't know.
Yeah, but
he was like, no, anybody else. Talk about anybody else.
Anybody else.
No, not John.
Let me ask this, Gary. As someone who's a stand-up guy... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, don't talk about John anymore. I'm done with it.
Yeah, okay, we'll avoid it. Otherwise, get a phone call. Gary, I told you never to let my name leave your lips. And you're like, all right, he's going to throw a Coke at me. You work with, you just got back from your soaring, the Soaring Valor flight, I think it is, right?
Yeah.
So you do a lot of work with the troops and go over and help. When you build these smart houses, and if people haven't checked it out, like I said, go follow them on Facebook. You can see everything. So you fix a lot of concrete real-world problems. You don't just do a photo op and...
He stays busy doing good things.
Busy doing really good things. when I was a kid and I was a troubled youth a little bit, and I went to a counselor, he said, if you're busy, you don't get into trouble. Do you think maybe that's a part of it? You're busy focusing on helping other people. That okay, it's tougher to get into some riffraff.
Well, look, service is a great healer. I remember, many times being heartbroken over different things. Meeting lots of our wounded service members back in the 90s. Working with Vietnam veterans in the 80s who had been, had been shamed when they came home from war, and feeling very, compassion for them. After September 11th, feeling that I needed to do something to reach out to the men and women who were deploying in reaction to that and getting hurt, and, the families who were losing loved ones and everything. So I just started to serve and to use this blessing of good, this good fortune I've had in the movie business and television business to try to do something positive. And it's grown into a full-time, ongoing life mission to give back to the men and women who serve our country. I get a great reward from being able to do that, and I've had some great success in the movie television business. Not only the being a well-known, around the world for CSI New York or whatever it is, the TVs and TV shows and movies, but the financial rewards have been good. Right. And I've been able to take some of that, do some good with it, start a foundation, the Gary Sinise Foundation, do some good, and I know I get a lot of good feeling out of that. Yeah. So I'm spending all my time trying to do that. I know there are people in the business who have made a good living. They've, and I would recommend, using some of that good fortune to do something positive for somebody else. It's a good feeling to be able to do that.
I feel like I'm Bill Murray in Rushmore. What's the secret, Max? And I think that's it. We were just talking about it. We were talking off air, going, it's a lot of actors, a lot of people in the industry just don't age gracefully. They're trying to recapture something or be someone they're not. Mm-hmm. I think that's what it is. The way to age gracefully in all aspects is just, okay, this is my chapter where I'm going to esteem others first. I have the ability to. And Gary does that. That's the Gary Sinise Foundation. We do have to get going. It's facebook.com/Gary Sinise. A lot of guy who does a lot of great work, and we'll keep shouting it from the rooftops because Gary often does it in quiet. So we can do it for you, Gary. I know you won't say it, but thanks so much for being here, brother.
I appreciate you spreading the word. Also, GarySiniseFoundation.org. That's the foundation website. We're doing some good. I'm leaving next week to go down to Texas. We're doing a big concert in Houston to support first responders that were affected by the hurricane. There's a hurricane relief fund on the website. There's all kinds of good things there. Many good comes at the Gary Sinise Foundation.
I hate to cut you off, but that's the sound of a bump coming on GarySiniseFoundation.org. We'll be right back after this. Dinky.
No, not you. Oh, Lord, no, I'm talking about that snazzy t-shirt. Looks like someone's been dropping some coin at louderwithcrowdershop.com. Now, come near, let the world see, don't be shy. There we go, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, now, someone's trying to be a sneaky fellow. Let's go, wear that bad boy loud and proud. Nothing to be ashamed of here. Say, what's the big idea? Stop kidding around and show everybody your swag. Don't make me come down there. Well, now your t-shirt just says socialism, which is far more embarrassing. There we go. See, nothing to be afraid of. Available exclusively at louderwithcrowdershop.com. Mug clubbers are almost never beaten up for wearing a long-sleeve socialism is for fags t-shirt. Unless, of course, you're sickly looking and lacking self-confidence. And that's why we now sell long-sleeve versions, perfect for those cool summer nights and covering up a lifetime of gym avoidance and poor decisions. Get yours now at louderwithcrowdershop.com. That's louderwithcrowdershop.com. Because anywhere else would be pure faggotry.
Hello, Louder with Crowder viewers. Hopper here. Don't forget that you can listen
to the podcast on the go on iTunes and SoundCloud. And the audio, you can download it, and you can listen at your leisure.
And now listen to this.
Oh, you did the harmony there with the gorilla.
It's pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Terrifying when a gorilla looks you in the face. Hey, our next guest, love him, hate him. Your thing is different, but we love him. He always makes it work. At Real Dean Cain. Dean Cain, how are you, sir?
I am great. Good morning, guys. Jared, what's up, buddy?
What's up, buddy?
Yes. It's morning for Dean because he lives by night. Fly by night.
True.
So, we were just talking during the break about the Wendy Williams pass out, and I know we all feel terrible, but oh my God! Once I found out that she was okay, that is one of the funniest things I have ever seen.
You got to make sure they're okay first, then it's good to laugh.
Yes.
It's like if something happens to your friend, you're like, oh no, and then afterward you can laugh about it. But yeah, it was. There were a lot of moments in that very short period of time.
Yes, we were just up there. There's the initial, the wave. Wait, something's going
wrong.
And then she thinks, I got it. And then the terror of knowing she doesn't.
And then the absolute, all the bones fell out of her body, complete drop.
Yeah, she looked like the skin when Tom and Jerry, when Jerry jumped out of his skin.
Oh, absolutely, that's all it was.
Yeah.
I'm glad she's okay, but it was pretty funny, and I would be a liar if I said I didn't watch it at least 3 times and call people over to look at it too.
Well, now is she competitive with the Today Show in that time slot? Were you watching that going, oh, I sense an opportunity?
No, I don't think she is. She's a little bit later in the afternoon, I think.
Oh, okay.
But you know that Today Show's a juggernaut.
It is. The Today Show's a juggernaut. When's the next time you're going to be on there? People need to know when to watch.
I don't know. The last thing I did actually was host Fox and Friends weekend. That was kind of interesting.
Oh, did you make that? You weren't sexually harassed?
Nope. I was waiting for it, hoping for it.
Well, that's kind of your annual bonus. It's a Christmas party.
Bonus is a good word for that.
And the bonus of if Trump didn't know who you were before, he does now.
There we go. Well, actually, I know Mr. Trump, the president. I know him because I judged the Miss Universe contest for him many years ago.
That's right. We talked about that. You should know this.
I should know these things.
Hey, speaking of which, do any of these sexual harassment things surprise you right now going on? I mean, obviously, this is the main story. To me, what really bothered me about the news with the Kevin Spacey deal was the media acting as though they were shocked that he was gay. Everyone in the industry has known this for years. It just makes me not trust. New York Times are like, breaking, Kevin Spacey's gay. I'm like, what?
You just now are not trusting the New York Times?
Well, yeah, but I had to pick one at that point.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's one of those things. I said it's the worst kept secret in Hollywood. That's something that you hear all the time, like the Weinstein bit. You hear all the time. Kevin Spacey being gay was something you heard. I've never seen Weinstein do his thing. I've never seen Kevin do his thing. Although I did go to a premiere way back 25 years ago, and it was I forget what the film was, but Kevin Spacey talked to me all night. I was like, he's the nicest guy in the world. And my just like, yeah, let me talk to you about Kevin real quick. No, I didn't. Nothing.
Dean, do you want to see it? Go ahead. Touch it. Play with it. Tell me you love me. Let me tell you how it works.
I'm not the guy that would fall prey to that, I don't think.
And I can't. We were talking about this before you came on. I can't imagine you sexually harassing anyone because you're Dean Cain. You can walk into a room and say, sex with me, and 6 hands will go up immediately. 3 of whom are gay.
I was accused of groping someone on Fox News on air. In a lawsuit, which was the most frivolous thing I've ever seen in my life. Unfortunately, it was on air, so nothing has ever. It's the most ridiculous thing. That's a scary thing.
Can we not say the name because it is on air? People know if they run a search. It was. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but it's very obvious. Someone wrote in Google search Dean Cain. It was okay. I won't say, but there was a co-host, and he was saying goodbye. Was this outnumbered? Was it the female one? Yeah, so it's outnumbered. So by the way, first off, Fox News sets it up, right? They're all in the leg chair. There's a lot of that went on at Fox News. I'm not defending all of it, so I don't want to lump everything in the same category here. But in this instance, Dean said goodbye to one of the outnumbered co-hosts and gave her a kiss in the cheek. She reached out, and that was it.
What you do in Europe all the time. It's what I've done with that same person 50 times.
Yeah.
Not even a thought process. But that was called groping by an attorney, and I thought that was hysterical. But there's a thing about that, too, that people will, because somebody on Twitter was like, well, what about your alleged sex? I'm like, really? Thank God it's on camera. So there's I'm not saying that, anybody who accuses anybody of anything is lying by any stretch of imagination, but it's a two-way street sometimes. And with today's culture, it's like, you're going to get the public turn on you really quickly and everyone's going to jump in. You've been allegedly accused. And that's a scary thing. For someone like me, I was stunned. You could have thrown a brick at me. I could have passed out on the Wendy Williams show.
It's a lose for her too, the girl too, because now all the angry bitches are mad that she got a kiss from Cain.
This is true. This is true.
No one wins.
They're all pissed at her, and it really is. You can go watch it. I remember I read it and I watched. I'm like, this is. I can't believe that this woman would pick something that was so clear on air. Just say it happened behind a closed door and people will believe you because that's what happens. But it was like, this is on air. It's a peck in the cheek.
Yeah.
So that is a concern for me too, because Weinstein is everyone kind of new in the industry. Like I've never seen it, but I've known people who've worked with him. It's pretty well known. On the flip side, there's the Me Too campaign where now it also is trendy and you're going, well, hold on a second. 9 out of 10 of these cases now have no evidence. It was different with Weinstein and Spacey, and they admitted to it. But now it's just like this guy too, and James Woods, and he shut that down really quickly. But I mean, how do you handle it? It is a tough balancing act.
That's a tough one. And right now, certainly the current trend is toward, whoever's, if you're blamed for it, you're horrifically guilty. But there are a lot of people. There are a tremendous number of people in Hollywood, especially that are tremendously guilty of it. People in power have been doing this for ever, and there's no question about that. But I'm glad it's come to the forefront. I'm glad there's not these. You don't have to see the jokes on South Park and go, oh, is that the truth? And they do mention some of that stuff on South Park and things, and they have fun with it. Or Seth MacFarlane saying in the Oscars, and there's things that we all know in effect. But I'm glad it's finally come out. It's just shocking that it's suddenly now House of Cards is canceled and this and that and the other thing. It's like, but you've known these things. This is no surprise.
Yeah, exactly. That's what bothers me.
Yeah, for you now, rocking the black the V-neck there. If someone comes out accusing you again, you just say it wasn't me. It was Simon Cowell. Clearly.
Yeah, exactly.
He's probably been accused of that too.
I guarantee you he has. Yeah, he just seems
there's
like
hordes of men saying the same.
He seems like the kind of guy who would just look at you and rub his nipples slowly in the green room or something. It would be very you'd read the work log, you'd be like, yeah, it sounds like something you would do.
Yeah,
just cut him a wide swath at what he's in the trailer. Yeah, it is. One thing we were talking about this yesterday. I know you're more conservative fiscally and socially liberal. Now that being said, personally, you're not a guy who's socially no construct, no boundaries. I know that about you, because Hollywood though has for a long time just reviled middle America. And look at it. If someone shows up who is a Christian in the film, or is abstinent, or is actually is loyal to their wife, they're secretly the serial killer, right? So Hollywood has fancied themselves always so open-minded and sexually progressive. I'm going, how is this any surprise that this is an entire segment of society that prides itself on immorality and chastises those who criticize them? It couldn't go any other way.
No, who's looking real good right about now? Mike Pence.
Yeah, exactly.
I will not have dinner with a woman who's not my wife, just one-on-one, and then that you cannot get accused of all the things that he may or someone else may be accused of.
Right, and shouldn't feminists be on board with that? Because they're like, what, he can't control himself? No. But he knows if drinks are had, inhibitions sometimes are removed, there can be other accusations. So to remove any liability and to also ensure that there's no scenario in which he could sexually assault. So even if you think he's a germ who's removed any opportunity to act germ-like, and the guy just got run through the ringer.
You can't win. Feminists want to have their cake and eat it too, and by that I mean they like lots of cake.
By that you mean they're fat bitches who are mad that Dean Cain kissed someone on air.
Lots of cake.
They're Russian feminists.
Endless amounts of cake.
I'll tell you this, and this is an exclusive here. I have definitely been sexually harassed and gone after and blah, blah. But it doesn't. I don't go at home at night and cry in my pillow and like, oh my God, I'm so
okay, come on,
dirty.
you got to give us a name now.
No, God, there's lists. It goes on and on and on.
Oh, Sorbo came on this week. He was like, Versace. Yeah, Versace tried to touch my pecker. He was Versace? Was it Versace? I would imagine Versace. No.
No, I never had a gay man do it. That probably wouldn't go over. So I'm not gay. I don't have a problem with people.
Poor Dean Cain. He was sexually harassed by the models he worked with on set. He was sexually harassed by females. You'll get
exactly why I never reported it. It wouldn't look good.
You'll never drive a car again. All those slash tires.
A part of me wonders. This is entirely a hypothesis. You can tell me there's something to this. Now, you were a very successful athlete. Princeton, obviously, you're go watch his highlight reel. Now, you compare that someone who's always been a good-looking guy. Compare that with like someone who like Dustin Hoffman. The recent accusations came out. The reason I use that example is because it's pretty in-depth, and no one involved has denied any of it thus far, or Kevin Spacey. So these are people who probably had great difficulty achieving, attention from members of the opposite sex until they became a part of the cool kids club, which was Hollywood. And so they come into it, and now all of a sudden they've been given this platform and this power that they never had. And do you think that maybe they're the ones who are more likely to abuse it? Whereas for you, you've probably had to, since college, be aware if you're at a party, anyone could accuse you because it's like, that's Dean Cain on campus. You get a sexual harassment suit on that guy and you're set for life.
I would say that's extremely accurate. No question about it.
Right.
There's no question. So that only doesn't just apply to Hollywood. That applies to politicians.
Right.
I think it really applies to politicians. Because have you hung around with a lot of those guys? Wow.
Well, like Mike Pence would not have a hard time getting any punani in Indiana if he wanted to. So he's had training in saying no, just like you had training in saying no, whereas the other one's just going, gimme, 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 I need.
Absolute truth. And it's men of power who are allowed to, abuse their position. And it's women of power. It doesn't just happen just men. I mean, it happens on both ways. I'd say it's much more prevalent for a man to do it, but it certainly happens.
You see
on the
this with
other
teachers
end.
all the time.
Teachers all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens with teachers, female teachers a lot, and that's a horrible thing. It never happened to me. I see Stephen smiling.
Doesn't sound convinced. He's like, that's a horror. I just can't imagine. I would imagine every single teacher, Dean Cain put an apple on their desk. They're like, thank you. Let's talk about this after class.
Every teacher trying to put Dean Cain on layaway.
I never had any problem with that sort of situation, but it is pretty damn prevalent, and it has touched my family to some degree. Not myself,
right?
But it's an unfortunate thing. So that certainly does exist.
Well, I do think
but I think with most of the other guys, it's the guys you talk about, the guys who maybe wouldn't be so socially popular and wouldn't have maybe the luck with the ladies that I've seen.
Right.
People that I know who are in this business and who do that, they'll just call in an actress because they think she's beautiful. She has no chance to get the part. They just want to meet her.
Yeah.
So I've seen that happen plenty.
I have seen that happen as well. As a matter of fact, in Montreal, there's one who I won't name a name, but it wouldn't be that hard for people to figure out, and it was kind of well known. Listen, in the realm of actors, I'm like, I would be like a 5. In the realm of stand-up comedians, I'm beyond a 10. Okay, when you're talking about like on the road in Schenectady or Poughkeepsie or out in Hackensack, New Jersey,
so true.
And so this happened a lot when I was 18, 19, and I'd be doing stand-up all the time. Opportunity was there all the time, right? You have 5 shows that weekend, a room of 200 people. Okay. All the time, either trying to follow me to the often the hotel room is right next to the club, and I'm like, no, listen, especially when I had a girlfriend, no, not. And the next guy, the guy who would be the headliner, would literally be like, hey, why don't you? I'm having a party over at my place, and invite them into their room. And so it was really different. This was a guy. I remember a guy, bald, old, fat, typical comedian, unhappy. I remember a very specific instance of me saying, hey, I had a bit about not being boyfriend material. She wrote me a note on a receipt and said, hey, I think you're boyfriend material. And I thought, like, that's kind of sweet. Like, you know what? I have a girlfriend. Thank you. But then she followed me. She was pretty aggressive. And she was attractive, mind you, so it wasn't very easy for me to say no as a 19-year-old male at this point. And this guy was very creepy, and he pursued her. I don't think he was successful, but I just thought that was like, oh, wow. This guy's never learned how to be like, no, not right now. That's a muscle you kind of have to exercise, self-control.
No question about it. You can get in an awful lot of trouble, and you see that with a lot of people. Yeah. There's no question. I have stayed pretty scot-free, and I've certainly dated in my day.
You lived a full life.
I lived like for a young man. I'm still very young, very, very young.
Yes.
And we'll see. I'm sure at some point. I mean, if I ever run for office, I'm sure someone will say I did something awful, terrible. I cut their hair back in grade school, or I dated somebody's sister or friend or whatever. I'm sure that'll all be. Look, I've dated women.
You'd make a horrible criminal.
I know. I'm a bad guy. I'm not a good criminal.
he's trying to soften what he's actually done. It's like what he really means is he slept with someone's sister while his friend was in the house, and that's going to come out, and then it's going to be like, I'm running for Senate, and I have to apologize for this. I think we're past that, though. I think we're past it. Yeah, I think we're past the era of like, I mean, guy who's going to run for president in 15 years is going to have a Yahoo Messenger screen name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, of course. There's no way around it now.
It's true. Oh, yeah. I can't. People find my Zynga. We're toast. So program's going down.
Crazy, because you're the only non-Asian on Zynga. But it is true. Listen, our reaction. Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, like, sure, if someone came out and said, yeah, Dean Cain had a casting couch, they would go, I don't think Dean Cain needed a casting couch. That would be the reaction. All right, Dean Cain, where's the best place for people to find you and follow you?
At my house. Oh, wait, don't do that. Don't do that. At Real Dean Cain on Twitter. I'm most active on Twitter. And I have an Instagram account, but I almost never use it.
It's true, because all the ladies chase him too much on the Instagram account, and then he has to fend them off and say, no Weinstein's here.
No.
We'll be back after this. Wrap this up.
There it is again, so strong.
Oh, yes.
No. You have to go.
I'll be right here. Ouch.
But that's my house.
Yeah.
I let them die while I made a makeshift snorkel. Clever.
You're
jerk.
clever.
Drowning dance.
Capitalist. So
Cut you
damn
guys
smart.
off at the pass.
Your IQ. I just want
Dean Cain, always fun. Really smart guy.
Very good guy.
Did you ever watch his highlight reel, Joe?
The highlight reel of Dean Cain?
At Princeton?
No, I heard he was a good football player.
You never
though.
watched it?
No.
Oh, wow.
I think he pulled it up.
Unbelievable.
I think he pulled it up one time, and it was pretty impressive. I don't think I watched all of it.
He's
though.
like an angry little jumping bean. Because for a football player, he's not that big.
He played for Stanford. Or no, I'm sorry, Princeton.
Princeton.
It's not
Well, I think wasn't he? Well, I think he was on the bench for,
known
like,
for, like,
the
rowing.
Raiders or something, wasn't he?
Bills.
For the Bills,
Oh,
right?
Buffalo
well, crap,
Bills.
never mind.
Yeah.
I take it all back.
He didn't play for a long time though. I think he was kind of like an.
It doesn't matter. You get in, you're an NFL guy. That's a big deal.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Because it would mean he must be at a certain level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, everybody else is packing it up, and you're keeping going. So
Right.
That's cool.
He was also at 5'11", 205.
5'11".
Make it to the Bills. Yeah. Not a big guy.
Well,
not a big guy.
Bills,
I don't know anything about the Bills.
losers of 4 Super Bowls in a
I
row.
did just watch Silence of the Lambs.
Not exactly
no,
where you
what
want
that
to be.
means is they always get the first couple drafts.
No, if they
So that
lose the
means he
Super Bowl,
was-
you get the second draft pick, but you just suck.
Have you lost a Super Bowl? I don't think
4
you've ever
times in
gotten
a row.
there.
The Bills? Are you kidding me?
I don't watch the
You
Bills.
didn't know that?
Bills are stupid.
Well,
It's incredible. Anyway.
I don't care. The point is, he was a good football player.
Yeah, we
Why do you derail
digress
the
a little
point?
bit.
Yeah, wait.
Well, look, so going back to
Good
what
for
we were
you,
talking
you
about.
kicked for Notre Dame. We get it.
I did. I played tight end for Notre Dame. Thank you very much.
Where's your Terry Hatcher, bitch?
Dang it! I traded it in for a wine business. I made a bad deal. No, look, I mean, we were talking about with the trick-or-treating and the socialism. Like, civilizations forever have known that if you don't work, you don't eat. Like, right. It's built into us. It's like, you don't have to tell a child to say no. You don't have to tell them to be selfish. You don't have to tell a civilization that people have to work to survive.
Right.
Why are we all of a sudden trying to change that?
It's like parenting. A lot of parents now, they're chasing their kids. Like, listen, your kid's not going to run into the fireplace unless he's really stupid, in which case he should probably run in there anyway. You know what I mean? Like, parents are like, oh, no, I have to, like, kids inherently, parents since the beginning of time, they didn't just watch their kids every second. They're inherent things that kids know. There's information that's just innate.
I think it's funny, too, because liberals probably, I think they see working less in socialism as that's the evolution, right? That's the evolvement from working so hard. But you don't realize people were dying before they realized they needed to work. Right. That was what was evolution was working to eat.
And I don't want to seem Darwinian at all, in the sense that it's just if you didn't eat, because we had villages, but we had villages in the sense that it provided some level of protection, some level, of course, of a safety net where you realized there was strength in numbers. But if other people were out hunting and foraging and then you just ate it and sat in your ass all day, no, there was no Stephen Colbert with a late night, teepee monologue saying, "Oh, just give him the boysenberries,
give the people."
Right. Were you going to say something?
That was a clever punchline back in the day. It's old-fashioned, but it's clever. You don't even know.
I'll bring up my book of Algonquin punchlines.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, name a civilization. Name a civilization that sat around and did nothing and survived.
Sweden.
You can't. Okay, well, but they're committing suicide at an alarming rate.
The Muppet Chef's been carrying them for years. Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. And I don't want to just say, listen, let's just be Darwinian and just think about the natural laws. But here's the thing. Conservatives, we talk about this a lot when we did the Change My Mind. We believe in not only natural laws, but natural rights. Because natural rights are often found in some form of natural law. Natural rights mean it's a birthright. And constitutionally, that means it's recognized by God. You may not believe in God, but hey, thank God your rights aren't given to you by government. They're given to you by God. And the government's only job is to protect your natural rights. So the thing about, obviously as a Christian, what we believe, the morals that we put in place, but also the free enterprise system, it's a way to guide natural rights to be as effective as it can be. In other words, we recognize that, listen, people inherently, they're gonna fend for themselves. People who forage and hunt, if you let them reap what they sow, they're gonna go out and they're gonna benefit everyone in the village. They're gonna bring back that woolly mammoth. They're gonna bring back that bison, and everyone else gets to eat. He might charge you, or he might have you working for him, but that guy went out and he led. And so the way we create a system, the free enterprise system, the capitalist system, is a way to harness the best of human nature through natural laws. Whereas you look at the left, and I do mean today the regressive left, the left like Stephen Colbert, who quotes Karl Marx, really Karl Marx and Frederick Engels. You look at communism, what's it trying to do? It's trying to fly in the face of natural law, which is why they don't believe in natural rights. They don't believe in your God-given right to freedom of speech. They don't believe in your natural right, your God-given right to self-preservation, the Second Amendment. And so they don't really have a lot of respect for natural law. They say, no, we know that every civilization is the beginning of time. You eat what you kill. So we're going to change that. We're going to force people to be charitable. Never has that happened successfully. We're going to force people to ensure equal outcomes. Never has that happened successfully in a way that's benefited the entire village. It's maybe benefited the committees, those people who are sitting down talking about the village, but socialism, Marxism, communism has never benefited the globe as a whole as capitalism, free enterprise, a constitutional republic like the United States has. No society ever has. And it really does come down to, this is what I was talking about, and I hope to see a lot of answers to the question today. I'll try and talk with you guys on YouTube about it. the idea of merit over fairness, because for a long time when you're young, you think about fairness of outcomes, equality of outcomes, and the left is still stuck there. Bernie Sanders, who's never worked a day in the private sector in his life, that's why he still believes it. You're hard-pressed to find a single business owner who believes that. And anyone out there, and I know we have some people who watch the show, like I just had someone recently was a world powerlifting champion, like, hey, this is what I do. I can't really talk about it publicly, but yeah, I really appreciate the show. We have some people who are really elite in their field. Anyone who's ever achieved something great in any realm of the human condition, whether it could be athletic, it could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be spiritual, it could be financial. Anyone who's achieved a level of greatness understands the amount of work that went into that, understands that the big difference is the follow-through. Following through, if you've gotten really good at a sport, think of a hobby, darts, right? The big, I found in my life, where I've been somewhat successful, has been, all right, committing to something and following through. That's how you probably get good at guitar. That's probably how you get good at golf. The thing is, people tend to follow through on things that are hobbies because it's fun. It's easy to follow through on something that's still fun. But following through on something when it's no longer fun, well, see, that's where free enterprise actually encourages you to go against the worst part of the natural human condition. Yeah, natural law is you eat what you kill. Yeah, natural law is, okay, we're on our own, but if you follow through, if you go if you innovate, if you create something, you're gonna be rewarded by the village because it's something that they need. The big differentiating factor, and we don't like to acknowledge this often, is the follow through when things aren't fun. Running a business, creating a cure for polio, right, finding new treatments for cancer, creating the internet. I guarantee you there are points with every great technological advancement, medical advancement, or every great contribution to American society that we can think of, there was a point where it was no longer fun. Just like your sorry little ass didn't want to get out when you were 12 years old and go trick-or-treating, but you realized it was one of your last prime years and you felt bad and you tried to get it back. You didn't feel like doing it, so you didn't follow through. Well, free enterprise, a capitalist system, unlike socialism, unlike the Karl Marx, who Stephen Colbert praises, acknowledges and validates and rewards the follow-through, which is what makes great people. So do it in your personal life. Look at areas where maybe you put something off. Maybe you're like, I feel like I could do really well at this if I only finished that. Follow through. And I want to be a part of a society that actually rewards the follow-through. I want to be a part of the society, the United States, that has made every other country better for it. It's like Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky's great skill, I'll leave you with this. I know, Canadian. Wayne Gretzky's great skill was, he wasn't the best shooter, he wasn't the best puck handler, he certainly wasn't the toughest guy, but he made everybody on the ice better for having been on there. The United States is the Wayne Gretzky of the globe. No country comes close. Every other country has benefited for us being here and finishing the follow-through. I want to be a part of that society. Otherwise, we're just Sweden, and that sucks. See you next week.
It only takes